Welcome everyone to Countdown TV. Today we'll be reviewing the world's top 10 deadliest pandemics. If you liked the video, go ahead and smash that like button. Also, if you want any future content from Countdown TV, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Click on the bell to get notified when new content is posted. Alright everyone, let's get started. COVID-19, or as it is also known, coronavirus, was first discovered in mid-December 2019. One of the first cases was reported by a worker at Wuhan's Huanan seafood market. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are common in people as well as in other creatures such as camels and bats. COVID-19 is caused by a coronavirus named SARS-CoV-2, which has its origins in bats. One of the theories about COVID-19's origins is that an infected bat was consumed at the exotic meat sector of the market. How the virus made the leap from bats to humans isn't without controversy. Wuhan, China has a biosecurity Level 4 laboratory which is authorized to work with airborne pathogens that have no known cures. Some people believe that the virus broke containment and made its way into the population of Wuhan. As of the publication of this video, there is no definitive answer to the origins of COVID-19. Thanks to an open global market and fast modern transportation, the virus made its way across the world in relatively short time. It made its way to Europe, where it struck Italy and Spain pretty hard. It made its way to the Americas, where it began to spread quickly in the United States and Brazil. At the timing of this video's publication, the United States had 250,000 deaths, and worldwide deaths totaled over 1 million. The Russian flu was first reported in the city of Bukhara in the Russian Empire in May 1889. It would kill 2/3 of the local population. It spread westward, eventually reaching the Russian capital, St. Petersburg. The capital was hit hard, infecting half the population. The disease would continue to spread westward, reaching the rest of Europe. The spread of the disease accelerated thanks in part to new innovations in transportation technology. Faster and larger steamships at the turn of the century helped bring the disease across the Atlantic, where Americans experienced the pandemic in early December 1889. Rail transportation assisted in moving the virus westward across the United States. 13,000 Americans would die from the flu, according to the U.S. Census Office. Total worldwide deaths would reach 1 million. The Asian flu originated in Guizhou, China. It was caused by a novel strain of the influenza A virus subtype H2N2. It was a recombination of the avian and human strains of the influenza virus. By the end of February 1957, the virus had spread from Guizhou into neighboring Yunnan province. By April, thousands had been infected in Hong Kong. By the end of the month, Singapore experienced an outbreak. About 100,000 people were affected in Taiwan by mid-May, followed by 1 million infections in India by June. By late June, it had reached the United Kingdom. By June 1957, the virus reached the United States, initially amongst Navy personnel. Vaccine trials began in late July 1957. In October 1957, a vaccine became available in the UK. Overall, the virus would kill 1 million people worldwide. The 1968 pandemic was caused by the influenza A H3N2 virus, comprised of 2 genes from an avian influenza A virus. The outbreak was noted in Hong Kong in July 1968. By the end of the month, there were reported outbreaks in Vietnam and Singapore. By September 1968, it had reached India, the Philippines, Northern Australia, and Europe. The virus arrived in the United States by September 1968. It was first reported in California and was carried by troops returning from Vietnam. The virus did not become widespread in the United States until December 1968. In Berlin, Germany alone, the excessive number of deaths led to corpses being stored in subway tunnels. Overall, the virus caused 100,000 deaths in the United States and about 1 million deaths worldwide. The Antonine plague, sometimes referred to as the Plague of Galen, occurred in 165 AD. It spread throughout the Mediterranean at the height of Roman power under the rule of Marcus Aurelius. Some common symptoms included diarrhea, coughing, fever, swollen throat, thirstiness, and vomiting. It is believed that the epidemic originated in China and then made its way to the Roman world via the Silk Road. The death rate was so high that it is believed that an estimated 5 million people died of the disease, including the co-emperor Lucius Verus. Emperor Marcus Aurelius died of the disease 11 years later. The Third Plague is considered to be the third major instance of bubonic plague that affected the Western world. It originated in the Yunnan region in southwest China in 1855. It then moved from Canton in Hong Kong and spread via ships to Japan, Southeast Asia, and the Indian subcontinent. It continued to spread across the world over the next several years. It eventually made its way to North and South America. Ultimately, the Third Plague took the lives of over 12 million people. The Plague of Justinian is the first instance of bubonic plague affecting the Western world. It originated in China and northeast India. It then proceeded to spread west via overland and sea routes. First reports of plague affecting the Roman Empire were recorded in Egypt. The plague spread thanks in part to rats that traveled via trade routes. The rats would feast on grain marked as tribute for the Byzantine Empire. The Plague of Justinian would affect nearly half the population of Europe and kill between 30 to 50 million people. The Spanish flu, otherwise known as the 1918 flu pandemic, was one of the world's most deadliest pandemics. It infected 500 million people and killed between 17 to 50 million people. This pandemic was caused by the influenza A virus and lasted from about February 1918 to April 1920. The disease was first noted in the United States. It quickly spread amongst U.S. troops preparing for action in Europe during World War I. It then made its way across the Atlantic, reaching the Western Front by April 1918. The outbreak was censored in the U.S., but was allowed to be covered in neutral Spain. Because of Spain's neutrality in World War I, and because it was especially hard hit by the disease, it began to be called the Spanish flu. Smallpox has been affecting humans for thousands of years. Its biggest impact occurred when Spanish conquistadors introduced it to the native populations in the Americas. The natives at the time had no immunity to smallpox and were severely affected by the disease. When the Spanish landed in modern-day Mexico, the disease began to spread quickly. Large numbers of natives began to die. The Aztec Empire was quickly conquered by the Spanish conquistadors, not because of their military superiority, but thanks in part to the disease that was ravaging the native population. It is estimated that between 25 to 55 million people died of the illness. Finally, number 1 on our list, the Black Death. It is suggested that the plague may have originated in Asia over 2,000 years ago and was spread via trading ships on the Silk Road. Symptoms included boils that would seep blood and pus. Other symptoms included chills, diarrhea, fever, vomiting, terrible pain followed by death. The disease was so contagious that many reports describe healthy people becoming infected and then being found dead the next day. Scientists now know that the disease was airborne and spread through bites from fleas and rats. The earliest reports of the plague in Europe came when 12 ships arrived at the Sicilian port of Messina. When the ships were boarded, people described seeing dead and sick sailors covered with boils that seeped blood and pus. Even when the ships were ordered away from the port, the damage had been done and the disease began to spread. It would continue to spread, and in the middle of 1348, it reached the cities of Bordeaux, London, Lyon, and Paris. The Black Death would eventually take between 75 to 200 million people. Almost 1/3 of Europe's population would succumb to the disease. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you want more content from Countdown TV, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell to get notified when new videos get published. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts about this video, and let me know if you have any recommendations for future top 10 videos. Thanks, and take care everyone.